Yeah. So it's time to stand up for truth, brothers and sisters. Hebrew Israelites, Judah. It's time to stand up for truth. You're going to continue to walk in your sins. You're going to continue to transgress the law. You're going to continue to sit back and wait for somebody else to teach you. Strangers teaching you. Other nations teaching you. You think these other nations going to teach you who you are? No. They part of the conspiracy. That's why they set up all these institutions. These schools, these churches. All these false enterprises. Why? To keep you deceived. They ain't teaching you how to be no king or no queen. As Yahweh ben Yahweh come to teach us and to show us and to be a light unto the rest of the world. Y'all always talking about he coming back. What? What you looking for when he come back? Do you know what to look for when he come back? Are you going to be wide awake or are you going to be asleep when he come back? That's your problem. You sleep. It's time to wake up. Judah. Hear ye this, O house of Jacob, the so-called black man of America, which I call by my name, Israel, and I come forth out of the waters of Judah, which swear by the name of Yahweh, and make mention of the God of Israel, but not in truth, nor in righteousness. The false leaders call themselves of the righteousness, and claim to trust upon the God of the Bible, the God of Israel, Yahweh. Yahweh is his name. Why don't our false leaders teach us the knowledge of Yahweh, and practice his laws, statutes, and judgments, and commandments? The heads of our leaders, which are the judges for reward, and the priests, the false teachers thereof, that they hire, and the false prophets thereof, the divine preacher teach for money, yet will they profess to depend upon the Lord, and say, is it not the Lord among us? None evil can come among us. Micah chapter 3:11. You got all these false teachers and these false leaders and all these institutions out there trying to teach you and saying this is the way. If you don't do it this way, you ain't going to get into heaven. Well, okay. If y'all ain't following the laws and statutes and judgments and commandments, you going to hell. You already in hell and you don't know how to get out of hell. My Father promised us heaven on earth. You can have heaven right here on his earth. But the devil got you thinking you got to die and go somewhere else to get this heaven. You've been deceived, tricked out of your glory, your robes of righteousness, your purity, your sovereignty. We've been tricked. They try to tell us we ain't got to do this no more. How? How can you say we don't have to do this no more? How can you let them trick you and tell you we ain't got to do certain things in this book no more? How? to read you a little something. We're going to get ready to close out. I'm going to read you a little something out of the book called How to Study the Bible. One of Yahweh's students. Why should you study? One of our Hebrew Israelite brothers. In our approach of how to study, I think it's appropriate that we first consider why should we study in the first place. That means we must go back in time for a moment, about 6,000 years, and consider what has transpired over the last 6,000 years that has ultimately led up until this point, causing us to be in the conditions that we are in as individuals and as a people. The only way we are going to be able to actually find that out is go back in time. Find out exactly what happened and work our way back up, because you cannot know where you are until you know where you've been. And only then are you capable of knowing where it is you must go. With that in mind, let us approach why should we study in the first place in our approach to how to study. Let us turn to Revelation chapter 12, verse 9. Revelation chapter 12, verse 9 reads, "And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels was cast out with him." Consider that. The whole world is deceived. That means everybody who lives in the world is deceived. That means you are deceived. This whole civilization, all of it, it is built upon trickery and deception. Civilization, as you know it. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 12, verse 14 and 15. Go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 2, verses 14 and 15. And let's see what it says in the book of Hebrews. It says, "For as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that hath the power of death." That is the devil. Who is it? Who might have the power to destroy the devil in these end times, coming and manifesting himself in the flesh? Yahweh ben Yahweh. "And deliver them who through fear of death were all their lifetime subject to bondage." All your lifetime we've been subject to bondage. We've been blind and we've been deceived. We didn't know who we were as a people. We ain't know nothing about our God Yahweh. We ain't know about our law, that we had to keep the law. We ain't know what type of dress, how Yahweh wanted us to present ourselves unto him. You see what I'm saying? Who is them? We are. We have been subject to bondage all our lifetime. It is through the works of Yahweh ben Yahweh that through death he might destroy him that has the power of death in us from bondage. We are in bondage. There is an escape. But that requires you to receive the power of mind to free yourselves from that. From death, which is limited though. The devil has imposed limited thought upon our minds from the womb. But there is a way out. And that was with what we must discuss, uncover, and ultimately receive in our hearts. Let us turn to Timothy chapter 2, verse 15, as we approach why we should study in the first place. 2 Timothy 2:15 states, "Study to show thyself approved unto Yahweh, a workman needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth." Let's stop right there for a minute.